One Piece chapter 955, an amazing treat. The chapter, fantastic, and a lot happened. And I recorded something last night, and it was just a bare bones thoughts of the chapter. I felt like I needed to say more because after rereading several times and then sitting on it for a while, I felt like there were other things that I had to touch on because Oda gave us a lot of things to go off of here. So you may say it's rambly, but I want to give you guys like my current thought process as far as like where I am right now based on this chapter. And then once the official translation comes out, I plan on recording another video, maybe with another YouTuber, where we're dissecting the chapter with the official translations. I guess we can start with the cover page in which we had Capone, and he seemingly is at Dressrosa. From what we know, Dressrosa is close to Wano, right? One of the things I've been saying for a while is that what if, right? What if all the supernova end up in Wano? Wouldn't that be amazing if we have all the supernova versus Kaido and now Big Mom? You know, he's creeping. He's at Dressrosa and he can go to, well, I don't think he's gonna find Zoe. Then he can end up in Wano. We know Aruj had some interest in Kaido. We saw everything that happened on the Sky Island before Kaido jumped. Chapter 795, suicide. Bonnie, we're not sure because she was at the Reverie, worried about Kuma. It's been a lot of time since then. The Reverie's over. She could come to Wano at this point. We're not sure, but I think it would be fitting if we included all the supernova in this arc. Now let's get to the chapter. So last chapter, if you guys remember my review, I was a bit frustrated with Hiyori not being a part of that super panel with everyone being there, because something that we missed was just the character interactions and just how people reacted to seeing people again after not seeing them in a long time. And we were kind of stripped of that. That wasn't revealed to us. We just got, you know, a time skip, a time lapse, and all of the people, they were there. Momo was there, he came from Udon. Zoro was there, Sanji was there. It was like, well, okay, time passed and we're all here now. Okay, cool. So now in this chapter, Hiyori reveals that she doesn't want to reveal herself to everyone because she doesn't want to arouse emotions before the war. All right, that makes sense. I get it. I'm listening to you. However, next page, we see Kawamatsu. He's telling everyone that Hiyori is alive. Now, someone did say Kawamatsu had to tell them because how else do you justify Zoro getting Enma if Hiyori isn't alive? So I'm like, okay, it makes sense. But I feel like Hiyori is just being saved till the end because it just makes for a fitting or a more, I guess, epic moment in which Hiyori and Momo meet after the battle, in which things are resolved and now the two, you know, kids of Odin, they can reunite and then figure out how they're going to rule Wano. But I think with continuity and with everyone going to the same place, with Kawamatsu's goal that he failed at, there's no reason why Hiyori should not be with the actual alliance. And then I will touch on that a bit more as we go along because we're going to see the implications of Hiyori not actually being with the alliance. It's mentioned later in the chapter. It's already bearing bad fruit, her not going with the alliance. The reaction to her being alive makes sense because they expected her to be dead. Like, they would not expect Hiyori to be alive after all these years. So it was a fitting reaction, them asking about her, Kawamatsu assuring everyone that she was safe. Here's the thing though, after he said she was in a safe place, did he reveal what that safe place was to anybody else there? Because this is going to be relevant, of course, as the chapter goes on. How much did he say to the actual scabbers and everyone there? Because then that's going to tell us some more information about who actually is the leak. And again, I'm jumping forward a bit, but that's something that we have to address. I also asked for a typical Sanji and Zoro interaction, and we got that somewhat because Sanji at this point, he's trying to be nice to Momo because he figured out that the girl that Zoro was with is actually Momo's sister. So, you know, we had the typical Sanji being a womanizer and Zoro being, you know, calling him a dumbass. And I missed that. That hasn't happened in a long time. So seeing that, you know, it was a nostalgic moment, which is crazy because we haven't seen Zoro and Sanji like before the last chapter at the capital. We hadn't seen them in like hundreds of chapters together. So seeing them again and having this moment, I loved it. Now we can get to some of the amazing stuff in the chapter because Hitetsu, he gives us some information in regards to things that he's been waiting for 20 years. And apparently he's been waiting 20 years to give Momo and Hiyori the two swords of Odin, Enma and Obe Habakiri. I definitely fucked that up. What's the name of this sword? Enma and Ame no Habikiri. So cool things that they can do. One is known to slice the skies, Ame no Habikiri, and one is known to cut through hell, or said to cut through hell, which is Enma. I speculated and say that they were probably supreme grade swords, like one of the best grade with Yoru and Whitebeard's weapon. I forget the name of it, but I assumed that they would be on that level. No, they're one of the 21 great swords. So Odin was out here slicing up Kaido with great swords. And then it was like we got some more information in regards to how it was possible later in the chapter when we find out exactly just how powerful Enma was. But before that, Momonosuke said he's not ready for Habikiri. So, you know, he said, hold on to it for a bit. I'll be ready at some point. And Zoro, of course, he takes Enma because that was entrusted to him by Hiyori. Probably the hypest part of the chapter, in which he says the only person that's been able to kind of tame the sword has been Odin. And then he tells Zoro, hey, cut that tree over there. And Zoro tries to do it, and he cuts he cuts the cliff off. He literally slices the cliff off. And I'm not sure how much stronger this sword has made Zoro, but it's obviously made him stronger, because he said one of the things, or one of the drawbacks of Enma, is that it has excessively strong power, right? Even Sanji had to react to that, and the Sanji fanboy in me, it died a little bit, because I was like, God damn, Sanji, where's your moment, Sanji? But no matter, guys, I'm a Zoro fanboy as well, so relax, all right? The weirdest thing that happened, though, was after Zoro used the sword, it seemed like the sword was like sucking the Ryo, or just the energy out of his arm. We weren't sure what was happening. But Zoro, being Zoro, he tells the sword to give it back to him, and he exudes his dominion over the sword, and he gets it back. It's just a fucking badass moment of, I mean, Zoro has a lot of these moments, and it was just amazing to see that happen, in which this sword, in which Kinemon even said, I wouldn't take that sword if I were you. He overpowered the sword using his own will, which I think at some point Oda has to touch on King's Haki for Zoro, because there's a lot of things pointing towards King's Haki for Zoro. Maybe that's the next video, at some point, another video, but Jesus Christ, that was amazing. But then Hitetsu gives a breakdown as to everything that happened to Zoro at that point. He said, using this sword, Enma, it uses an excessive amount of Ryo. So if he was a regular swordsman, he would just pass out at that moment. But he said, good job he didn't die and pass out, because this sword, man, is hard to hone, it's hard to wield, and the only person that's able to do it is Odin. I think it's a video there in which we can talk about how these swords affect Zoro, because Zoro has lost Shisui at this point, right? And he has Enma. But losing Shisui and gaining Enma, what does he lose from Shisui? What does he gain from Enma? Obviously, he gains overwhelming power, the use to excessive amounts of Ryo, in which it's somewhat pulling it out of his body for him. So it's training him to use Ryo somewhat seamlessly. That's a net positive based on what we know about Ryo. And then Enma being able to scar Kaido, it's preparing Zoro for the future, because you're going to be able to have to use advanced Haki to damage some of these top tiers. So a net positive, obviously, but I think losing Shisui, at some point it has to be addressed, and we don't know what's going to happen to Shisui at this point. It more than likely is going to become like the national treasure again of Wano, but other things could happen. We then get into logistics, right? After coming off the Enma stuff, getting into like numbers of the people we got to fight, it's not as interesting, but it was very interesting because we found out a lot of stuff. First off, Kaido and the Beast Pirates, 20,000 strong. Orochi and his men, 10,000 strong. At this point, we're 4,000 strong, right? 4,000 strong, we got 200 more people, so now it's 4,200 people. We have a long way to go. What's interesting though, Frankie, he said to prepare ships for 10,000 people. Now, 4,200, 10,000, a bit over 5,000 left, right? So what's happening here? What's the end goal? What's the end game? The Grand Fleet. They're definitely coming to Wano, because at this point, there was an interview Oda did recently, and they asked him, hey, you mentioned something about the Grand Fleet being able to do something at the end of Dressrosa, a huge event that happened involving the Grand Fleet. Is that going to happen anytime? And Oda said, it's going to happen really soon. Oda also revealed that he wants One Piece to end in 5 years. If there was any time for the Grand Fleet to be involved, this is the time. They're facing two Yonko. They have 4,000 people, not even including Big Mom's forces. They're currently at 30,000. They need the Grand Fleet. And again, they need all the people they can get. So I think it's fitting for the Grand Fleet to be involved in this war. They also mentioned that they don't want to get civilians involved, because of course they're fighting to liberate Wano. So if you destroy the citizens of Wano, then what's the point of fighting for it? Obviously, because of just the scale of the war, civilians are going to get caught up in it. It's just something that just happens in war. Something that I don't know if people missed it. People understood what was happening, but just the scale of it. Luffy's trying to combine King Kong Gun and Ryo. Just think about it. With King Kong Gun and how he was using it in the past. He went up, made a big fist, and he came down King Kong Gun. Now he's trying to make King Kong Gun, or the power of King Kong Gun, more compact. So when he uses a Ryo like palm strike, the power from King Kong Gun is going to be in that palm strike that could actually hurt Kaido. If Luffy can master like the power to implement the power of King Kong Gun into a palm strike, I don't know, Kaido. I don't know. Also, before with Zoro and Momonosuke, something that didn't resonate, I guess back then when Momonosuke, or when Zoro was talking to Yuri, is the fact that Zoro said, you know what, if anything happened to you, I don't know if I'd be able to face Momonosuke again. It didn't resonate because we did not see a lot of Zoro Momonosuke moments, and then we find out that Zoro and Momonosuke, they were apparently training together, and Momonosuke copied the Sunachi whatever that Zoro was saying, and it was like, we would have liked to see that, because it would have deepened the relationship, give us our perspective so that we can look at it and say, okay, Zoro and Momo, they're building something. Of course, them being swordsmen, right? Momo is like the heir to the greatest swordsman of Wano, or one of the greatest, because Ryuma is there, no disrespect to Ryuma. It was a relationship that I feel like had to be built, and honestly, not to say Momo is like Zoro, Momo. But Zoro back then, he was a young swordsman trying to become strong, and Momo being young as well, having the Wano lineage. I'm sure Zoro saw a bit of himself in Momo. So it was really cool seeing it in this chapter in which Momo and Zoro, they're training together, and Momo even asked him about snatching. And Zoro says, hey, the elders of my village, they used to say it, so I just picked up on it. And again, this makes a lot of sense based on the information we find out about the Shimotsuki later in this chapter. I know I wasn't the only person that was annoyed when Shinobu said, who cares if Law joins in that? The thing is, Shinobu is a character that she's been coasting the entirety of Wano. She's not really good at being a ninja. She was one of the main reasons why Law even left the alliance, because she was trying to blame Beppo and the others for actually snitching on Law or snitching on the alliance. This could play out in several ways. It could even be where Shinobu is the snitch. It could be that Beppo and them were actually snitching on the alliance. I think just the blatant disrespect of someone that's been there for a while, that's helped out the Straw Hats a lot more than you have. For the fan base, it was like an audible sigh, like, shut up, Shinobu. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. They're going to need Law. So at some point, we're going to have a moment in which Shinobu acknowledges that, you know what, I was wrong. This dude is pretty damn powerful. I think what's cool is that we still have samurai in the prison, so those are just like reserves that we're going to obviously need at some point. And Kinemon even said those are the hardiest of the samurai, which, you know, could mean different things, but I think he means like a lot of strong-willed people are there, and those people, they're worrying about what Kinemon and them are doing, because they're saying we're currently locked up and they're about to fight for their lives. And of course, by Kinemon saying they're the hardiest people out there, just imagine how they feel that they want to fight and they can't right now because they're locked up. Somebody's obviously going to free them. I'm thinking it could be Law, or it could be that person that Law saw who had the plan when he, you know, chopped Hawkins up into bits and pieces. It could be that guy, because we don't know who that guy is. We don't know what this guy's plan is, but at some point, it seems like he's betraying Kaido's side. So more than likely, it's somebody that was working with Kaido. The speculation is that it's X-Drake, but we'll see. It makes sense, and it's somewhat telling us how things are going to play out, in which the Straw Hats are separated from the actual Scabbards. And it was a cool moment in which Oda, it's like he dialogued everything the Scabbards were going through, like what they represent, like symbolically them marching towards Onigashima, the weight of what they were doing, everything they were fighting for, everything they lost, the sheer impact of that moment. I think it was encapsulated perfectly, and I can't wait to see that in the anime, because I know the OST is going to be just amazing, because for 20 years, everything culminated up to this point, which everybody came together to try to take down Kaido. But unfortunately, another Yonko in Big Mom is right there with him. Ultimately, how can it not end up in failure? Because they have no idea that Big Mom is there, or maybe we haven't seen anybody acknowledge it at all. Because if Big Mom's there, wouldn't the plans change? And it's also interesting that in the midst of them marching, they gave us the mindset of the people of Wano, in which they don't even believe this can happen. They feel like because Wano's been closed off, and again, 2 decades later, nothing has changed. They feel like because Wano's closed off, nothing has happened for so long, nothing is gonna happen. Even though there's rumors out there of Kinemon, they're saying for 20 years, their spirits are broken. There's no way they're going to do anything. So I liked how it's like a contrast of like Kinemon and those guys and the people of Wano, how they actually feel. And I like that was in the last of Hitetsu when he talked about Enma earlier in the chapter. We got some more information not only about Enma, but about Shimotsuki and Wado Ichimonji. Apparently, the reason why Zoro is able to control Enma so well is because Wado Ichimonji and Enma, they were made by the same person. Last night, I went and looked at the vivid cards for Ryuma, and just to see exactly what Shimotsuki means and where it comes from. Apparently, Shimotsuki was Ryuma's epithet, right? It was something that Ryuma coined in a way. It became a family name, but Ryuma was kind of the originator of it. The line of the Shimotsuki, of course, the originator is Ryuma, but I wonder how Zoro's gonna fit into this line. Like, how is Zoro gonna fit into all of this? And then one of my friends, Froob, actually sent an interesting Reddit comment in which they said that the comment said it's possible that Kuzabura could be the dad of Kiyoshiro, because apparently like the names mean different things, and Kuzabura left Wano 50 years ago and Kiyoshiro is 51. So we'll see how that plays out. Very interesting shit. Hitetsu goes on to say maybe that's why he already, noticed that on your hilt and recognized, hey, maybe I should entrust Enma to him. And the other thing he said, it's a lot of speculation around it because we get different translations from a bunch of different people. Apparently what Jam in This Box, because that's where I read my translations from, they may have messed up the translation by saying Enma has yet to become a black blade. The official translation is going to say that in Zoro's hands, Enma can go up a level to become a supreme grade sword. So we have to wait and see exactly what it says. Again, I'm going to have a video talking about the official official translations. So for hype chapters like these, or chapters with a lot of information, I'm going to try to get together with another YouTuber and record something, maybe not too long, just discussing like the official translations and things we've gotten from the actual chapter. So I guess leave your vote below as far as like who you would like me to talk to the chapter about, because again, I have to ask these people. Just leave a vote below as like who you think would be cool to talk about the chapter or dissect the chapter with. The chapter ends with like the inclination or the impression that Luffy has mastered or got a better grasp of Rio, and he's sounding like, you know, Kaido, watch out because I'm coming. The main thing that a lot of people are discussing right now was the fact that Orochi now knows where Hiyori is. He now knows the port, and after everything, it seems like somebody's betraying the alliance, and then it goes to Law. The next panel is Law. What does this mean? Is Law the snitch? I don't think so. Again, a lot of time has passed, so the main thing was like, Law isn't the snitch. How would he know where Hiyori is? Well, because so much time has passed, Law could have acquired that information, but I don't think it's Law, because if Law was going to betray the alliance, he could have done it a long time ago. And the thing is, if you're going to like leave the alliance the way you did, not respond to them, not report to them, he could show up to the alliance and play along and still betray them. Staying away and like acting like he doesn't want to be a part of it is a dead giveaway that, oh, more than likely Law is betraying the alliance. So I don't think it's Law at all. It's somebody that was on Zo. Had to be, because we know Raizo, Jack knew that Raizo was there all along. One of the scabbards is betraying the alliance. Somebody's betraying them. I don't think it's Ino and Neku. People are saying that it's Carrot based on the panel they saw. It's definitely one of the scabbards. I was super skeptical of Shitenmaru and how helpful he was throughout the entire process. And it was weird how quickly he got over his disdain for just them abandoning the country for 20 years, then coming back and acting like everything's all good. How did Shitenmaru survive this long without getting captured by Kaido? Because, you know, Kaido wanted to acquire him. Did he eventually started working for Kaido as like an affiliate of Kaido in some way? We don't know. But for right now, I think my main people that I'm suspecting, Shitenmaru, Shinobu, and Carrot. So Carrot is the last one. I don't know, she looked a little weird in that last panel. So guys, leave your thoughts below. A very exciting chapter, very packed chapter. So a lot to discuss. A lot of videos are going to come from this, but leave your thoughts. No break. Act 2 is ended. So now we're heading to Act 3. People are speculating that we get to the Reverie to see what's going on around the world before we get to the meat and potatoes of Act 3. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. I know you are as well. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Leave your thoughts below. I enjoy reading your comments, most of them at least. Like the video. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce, because that's where we have a lot of conversation, especially today. One Piece 955 was trending in the US. Do you know that? So you can find that out on Twitter. So follow me at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Again, subscribe if you haven't for more content like this, because a lot is to come from this chapter alone. And again, I'm working on my Zoro, the gap between Zoro and Luffy. And this chapter, actually, I have to add more to that video now. Exciting stuff to come. Shout out to my patrons. I appreciate all the support you guys give me. This weekend will be an update as far as like the next video based on my patrons. I know you guys have voted on understanding Nen. So the next video, obviously, Hunter x Hunter is going to be involved around the Patreon stuff, but more to come. More to come. Thank you guys so much. Like the video, subscribe. I'm not sure if every review going forward is going to be face cam, but I just had to talk to you guys. I just had to lay it all out right now because it's a lot to get into. But again, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.